Hello again, and welcome back. You know, if you are moving from 4.0 to 4.5 and beyond, then this is going to apply to you because, oh, look at that. I got a notification that I'm live on USA Tennis Coach. That's really cool, but I wasn't expecting it. Anyway, if you are moving beyond 4.0 on the NTRP scale and you're probably a 5 or more on UTR, then you need to be playing the cat. You need to be the cat because it's a game of cat and mouse. And what you want to do is you want to impose your game on the other player. And you want to put your opponent to a position where they're the mouse. They're the one that's going to have to move first. So I'll give you some examples of that. One of my favorite matches that I ever coached was a player that I've referenced different times. So Shreyas was ranked like 66 in NorCal, and in the semifinals he beat number 12, but he knew that he wasn't going to be able to serve and volley against that number 12 player just because that kid's top spin ground strokes on both sides were really good. Yep, there it is. Live video, sneezing on live video. Congratulations. So you have a viewer. So make sure, go ahead, if you're watching this, spend your social digital capital by pressing like, subscribe, share with the people you think might like this. Anyway, but he knew he wasn't going to be able to serve and volley in the one match because just the matchup was not going to be that great. But in his next match, he felt like he could, and now he's in the next round. I don't think this was the finals. Actually, in the quarterfinals, he beat the number 12 seed. Now he's in the semis against a kid who will eventually become the number 1 player in Northern California in the 18s. And he was well noted, he was well noted to be attending Nick Bollettieri Academy, a week at a time, and in the summertime a lot. So he would go there for spring break and during the wintertime and also in the summer. So this kid was, really tough player, but my player wanted to come to the net all the time in this match just to prove that he could do it. Well, anyway, my guy lost the first set like 6-3 or 6-4, something like that. It was like one break of serve. But we started to notice something in his game where he was so well trained at the inside out forehand that any ball coming up the middle, he moved very quickly to go to hit an inside out forehand. And he would do that actually, so quickly that he was sort of anticipating those shots. So the way we turn that into a cat and mouse situation is that my player would chip low down the middle of the court, and his goal was to get his ball to land about 2 feet inside the service line. If it went a little bit past the service line, he wasn't going to be in trouble. But if his ball landed in the mid part of the big rectangle, that was not going to be very helpful. So he was chipping low. So what ended up happening was this player would turn this way and to hit an inside out forehand. And then all of a sudden he would have to then go forward, which is more difficult after you've already moved this way to then go forward. That's tough. And then he ended up having to, hit some very defensive shots. And then my player was able to volley them away. So my player was able to win the second set and doing that. And then at some point, I'm not sure if this was late in the second or early in the third, the other player, also very intelligent, right? Cat-like, saw my player making the mouse move of hitting that slice thing down. So what did he do? He started coming forward in the court. So instead of just moving sideways, he would move forward and sideways and be ready to take that ball. So then he got more effective at hitting better passing shots by stepping inside the court. So, but then that then made him the mouse, because then my player went back to being the cat by hitting his approach shots towards the corners again, like he'd done in the first set. I left that part out. So in the first set, my player's playing pretty standard approach tennis and was competitive, but lost the set. So this one adjustment of chipping short worked to get him the second set. But now we're in the third set and the other player has adjusted. And so then he went back to hitting approaches to, down the line deep, inside out deep to the corners. And now this player who is looking for that short ball has jumped inside the court. Now he has to move diagonally backwards. And my player now is getting, an even better advantage of having his opponent, off the court more. So then this cat and mouse game continued throughout the set of, what's coming. Each one has to sort of read and react to what's coming from the other player. And you'll see this at the highest levels of the game. I mean, this is where, there's no mystery between Djokovic, Federer, and Nadal and whatnot. But I will say this, the one thing that's very interesting is last year when Djokovic was really dominating in a new way, he started playing differently. And I'm going to get into that in a minute. But those players know each other's games. And so it's just simply a matter of reading and reacting to what they're doing. And so the mystery is gone, but it's how well do they respond? All right. So anyway, so back to this match where my player came to the net 114 times in 3 sets. 114 times. Wrap your brain around that, right? And he won 71 points, right? So that's a good winning percentage. 71 out of 114 times. Crazy. I mean, he was in the net just about every point. I wish I had a chart of that match, and so I could see how many total points were even played. All right. Well, anyway, so at 4-5, the other kid's serving, and it's deuce. We're playing regular scoring. It's deuce, and the other kid double faults by that much. But my player, the ball was too close. He played it, and oh my goodness! And I was like, you see that ball go out by 2 inches, and your player plays it and doesn't call it out. He could have had a match point, but he did not. And then it was very interesting because, part of the title, it's part of the description of this video is about how great players raise their game. And so what happened that was very interesting was, I'm pretty sure my pet theory that I'm holding to is that the player who was the favorite in the match saw that really should have been a double fault, and he sort of got away with it, which is fine. We're not begrudging him that. That's within the rules. The other kid played the ball. But anyway, he was relieved. He had that relief that, oh man, I could have been down match point right there. And now he's got game point. And from that moment on, he played so amazingly well. I think he hit 5 or 7 balls on the line. And I remember this one point where that kid came to the net. My kid lobbed him. That kid turned. My kid then, after lobbing him, came to the net, the opponent turned around, did a 180, maybe even a 360, and then hit a cross court passing shot off his backhand that no one could have gotten. And then I was like, oh, this is over. so he raised his game at exactly the right time, and so it ended up being 7-5 for him. And but you know, my player won 71 of the 114 times they came to the net, and I believe if he'd been able to win 74 points, that he would have won that match. But you know, you have to give credit where credit is due. The other player really played amazingly well. All right, now back to Djokovic for a moment, because probably the two biggest matches last year for Djokovic were Nadal at the French, where Djokovic hugged the baseline the entire time. He did not back up, and he constantly took time and space away from Nadal on clay, which, I mean, that's crazy talk. Go back and look at that match. He took time and space away from Nadal. And what's the worst thing you could do? The worst thing you could do is go, 10 feet behind the baseline and think that you're going to wear down Nadal. That's not going to happen. And Nadal, for his sake, was actually forced to try to end points more quickly than he would like to, especially on clay. Really amazing strategy by Djokovic, and I had never seen him play that style before. One of his Achilles heel up until that point had been that he had not wanted to be the aggressor in points, so people could kind of rope-a-dope him, and they would push and put him in a situation where he had to be the aggressor, and then he wasn't really comfortable with that. But Djokovic's game got to mentally he got to the point where he was able to sustain that offensive output and stand in there even in the face of a few errors. But watching Nadal looking befuddled and without enough time to do what he wants to do was really an amazing thing. Now, the other one that I thought that was really amazing was when he stood toe-to-toe with Tsitsipas and out-hit him. I think that was at the Open. And he just out-hit him. Maybe, was that also the French? I don't know. I forget which match that was. Maybe it was Wimbledon. But anyway, he just stayed toe-to-toe with him and was being a ball striker. I mean, the most obvious thing that you see from Djokovic is sort of that boa constrictor, just pressuring movement and just continuing to put the pressure on with movement until the other player suffocates and has nowhere to go. But for Djokovic to stand toe to toe and hit, I mean, it really showed that he can play any style, any strategy that he chooses to play. It's just too bad that right now that there's this situation going on where he is not allowed to play, even though he's one of the healthiest people on the planet. I just find that highly ironic, but I don't want to get too much into politics or what have you, but consider that for a moment. Djokovic is one of the healthiest people on the planet, but people will say that he's a health threat. How does that work? Someone explain that to me if they can. So anyway, if you like this video, so go when you're going to play and you're 4-0 and above. Now, this is not going to work so well when you're 3-5 and below, because you need more tools in your toolkit. You need to be able to have the ability to just have the shot that causes the thing that makes your opponent move where you want them to, so that then you can pounce. It doesn't happen very easily. So if you are 3.5 and below, or you're a 4.5 UTR or below, then or under a 5, then you should probably stick with tennis strategy 201 stuff, which will form the foundation for being able to move forward. And if you haven't read Tennis Strategy 101, you should probably take a look at that, because you might find, if you find something in Tennis Strategy 101 in which you are deficient, then you want to work on that one thing and then move on to the 201 stuff and build up. And what you'll do yourself a big favor, because then you won't have a big hole in your game. You won't have your ship won't be sinking. You won't be taking on water as you're going forward. Sometimes people try to play complicated strategies at a high level, but they're not really, they're making too many errors to justify how many points they win. And they end up losing matches they could win because these holes need to be plugged. And so, check out Tennis Strategy 101. It's live both as a ebook and a print book. And so thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you in the next one as I come up with more ideas of what to talk about with Tennis 301. So if you are a 4.0 player wanting to become a 4.5, or you're trying to get up to another level and you have a question about strategy and tactics, feel free to reach out to me. You can put them in the comments, you can send me an email. There's lots of different ways you can reach me, and I look forward to that. So thanks, and have a great day. Remember to spend your social digital currency by pressing like, subscribe, and share it out to people that you think will enjoy this content. And if you're on YouTube, scroll down, take a look at the description below, and you might find some stuff you like there. You probably will. And that's where I end today.